Hey gang, on today's Chew on This, I'm going to bring you a video I recorded late last night when I got home from my day from hell. If you want to know why it was a day from hell, I probably just message me, I'll tell you in private, but it was ridiculous. Got home really late and got caught up on the D&D live stuff, and I thought I'd make a video about it. So I'm going to give it to you warts and all. Some of the production issues on it are regrettable, but it is what it is, and it's time sensitive, so I feel like I need to get it out, and I don't want to spend any more time on it. But enjoy it for what it is, enjoy the content, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Day 1 of D&D's Roll with Advantages in the book, and we got our first look at Rime of the Frost Maiden. We're going to go over what Chris Perkins had to say about it, and we're going to opine. I don't think it's a set when you think it's set, but we're going to discuss it next on Polyhedral Paradise. Hi, welcome back to Polyhedral Paradise. I'm your host, Jason. If you're new here and you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're not new here, then just keep on doing what you're doing and support. I really appreciate everything. Had to put on a nice silvery looking tie for the occasion. It's about the closest thing to a snow theme I could find. So today was the D&D Roll with Advantage live stream event, at least the first day. And I don't know if how many of you out there watched it live, but the first part of the day was a Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. It lasted about an hour and a half. That was pretty interesting. Recommend you guys check it out if you get the chance. And then it went right into Chris Perkins talking about Rime of the Frost Maiden. Now, Rime of the Frost Maiden is an adventure book set in the Forgotten Realms area of Ten Towns and Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale exists above the spine of the world. It's really isolated. So I think it's going to be a very good setting, produce a lot of horror elements according to what Chris Perkins had to say. But I also think he's holding back. I think it has a little bit of a secret. So I think what I'd like to do right now is we're going to take a look or listen to what Chris Perkins had to say. This is an interview with D&D Beyond. We're going to take a look at a little bit of this, and then I'm going to comment on it. And we're going to find out why I think he's holding back a little bit of a secret. And it may not be the big deal, it may be a big deal, but there's a nugget in here that he's not fully letting out right now. So let's take a look here. Hold on 1 second. Had to put my earpiece in here and make sure I could hear it. So let's go take a look at this.
There's around a group of adventurers who are dealing with the fact that winter never seems to end here. And there are terrible things out in that dark cold, and those things are getting closer. And there are secrets out there buried under the snow and ice. And if you want to go find them, that's great, but the risks may not be worth the reward.
I can only suspect we're going to, because like any good horror story or sci-fi story, a lot has to be a secret. Otherwise, you kind of ruin the whole point of playing the adventure.
Yeah, which is why I'm sort of shying away. While I may have been more comfortable in years past talking about some of the key aspects of the story.
So I'm not sure if what I think he's keeping a secret is really relevant right here. Of course, the aspect to any good adventure is mystery, and you're definitely going to have that here. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to find under the ice, but the secret that I think he's keeping is about when this adventure takes place, and that is really interesting. Let's listen to a little bit more what he has to say.
I'm really kind of shying away from that and speaking in generalities so as not to spoil any of the secrets and surprises, of which there are many. This is a good-sized adventure. It's 320 pages.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, let me stop there. So that is a huge book. I think we're getting an adventure book, yes, but I also think this is going to double as a setting book. And I say that because of the things they get into later, where they're going to talk about different sports that you can play, different rules for surviving blizzards, just a whole bunch of different things that lead me to believe this is going to be a lot deeper than just an adventure game.
That's
And
healthy.
it's a combination of, there's like this fun narrative through line, but then there are all these delightful, terrifying satellite locations and sort of side stories that DMs can kind of take and run with.
Satellite locations and side stories. This is going to be deep. It's going to have a lot to it. It isn't going to just be one narrative thrust. It's going to be an overarching story, but they said earlier that it can take you from level 1 to 13. Now, that is a huge swing. Most people stop playing around 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's going to be large, I think.
Are there going to be interesting, perhaps, monsters in this as well?
Yeah, in fact, there are more new monsters in this adventure than any other 5th edition adventure we've published so far. Part of that is simply because the monster manual, as big as it is, doesn't have a ton of cold dwelling creatures. And so we're just sort of fleshing out that empty space. But also, the story itself challenged us to pull some monsters out of D&D's past, as well as do some fun novel riffs on existing monsters, which I know I can see the smirk on your face. You know what I'm talking about. There are a couple of variations of Monster Manual monsters in here, which are quite fun, and we think DMs will really like. But you know.
All right, so we're getting a whole bunch of new monsters, which is one of the things I said in an earlier video. So that in and of itself is going to be worth it. So you've got a huge setting with satellite locations, side quests, and lots of monsters. This sounds bigger than an adventure.
As I was saying, like, it's a big. One of the reasons why this adventure is so big is because its bestiary, its creature section, is really huge.
And that's kind of like, is that a key element to this? In some ways, is that, you know, especially for if you've been playing D&D a long time and you're very familiar with monsters. I know what Gelatinous Cube is. I know what this is. I know what that is. But like, if you present that to me, like, say there was a goblin, but also it has like a goblin shark's teeth or something. That's like, there has to be that element, right, with a monster in a horror story that you don't understand how it works, like the straw zombie.
That is exactly one of the reasons why the idea that in horror you want to be surprised, and if your players are as well versed in the monster manual as the DM is,
which a lot of you
some
are.
of that surprise can quickly be diluted because the players will know what they're up against. Part of the goal was to present new threats that the DM can spring on the players, and the players will go, "Oh my god, I don't know what that is. What's its AC? What are its hit points? Ah!"
Like that game over, man moment of like, that is not how that monster is supposed to work.
Yes.
Let me pause it here for a second. I'm gonna
and a lot of the
search for the part I was looking
for.
All right, so he goes on, but the one thing I want to bring up is when I told you the bits that I wanted you to hold on to, where he talked about her being able to take different forms, and the Frost Maiden is this creature that is horrific. And I'm going to see if I can find it, but there was an interesting interview that he did during the live stream that I can't find right now, where he mentions the goddess Orel. And she's taken many forms, and part of the reason the bestiary is so big is because they had to have several different stat blocks for this character because she can take a lot of different forms. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm going to look for it in a minute to see if I can find it. But the thing that struck me is that in 1358 DR, in the Year of the Shadows, there was a thing called the Time of Troubles. It was when all the gods were sort of kicked out of their realm and they had to assume a mortal form. Some of them were killed, some mortals ascended to godhood, but it was a really big event in Forgotten Realms. And to me, it seems like this character, the Frost Maiden, would fit the bill perfectly for being one of the deities who was cast out of her position in heaven or, you know, in the other planes. And I think it would be a real win for them if they were to go back to this time and explore the Forgotten Realms and explore Icewind Dale around that time, because that just opens up a lot of different stories you can tell. That coupled with the fact that we're getting all these ancillary areas and we're getting all these story elements in this book, I think that's probably what they're going to do. And the funny thing is, this sort of harkens back into the gray box setting, the first edition that we got, Ed Greenwood's original Forgotten Realms setting. And if they went back there, I think that would be fantastic.
Okay, so I found the live stream that I was talking about, and we're going to take a look at Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford talking about Rime with the Frost Maiden, and we're going to hear them talking about how it's a deity and an avatar of a deity, and I think you're going to really see this kind of fits to what I was saying.
Hello, friends and D&D family. Welcome to D&D Live 2020 Roll with Advantage. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm Anna Prosser, one of your hosts, and this is Mika Burton. Mika, I'm so stoked.
Hi, oh my god, so am I. We love D&D, and this is just a weekend full of D&D, so I don't know what could be better, honestly.
This is going to be a pretty good event.
Yeah, and you know, if you're not familiar with D&D Live, let us tell you a little bit about why we're here and what we're doing. D&D Live 2020 Roll with Advantage is a celebration of diverse storytellers, creators, and players coming together to conquer any challenge that their dungeon masters can throw at them.
And this year's D&D Live is teaming up with
a reveal of the new D&D adventure.
Let's just pause this real quick. Okay, so let's see. Tomorrow, so we already got the June 18th, so tomorrow, this is a little bit of a diversion, but okay, let's see. Tomorrow we've got 9:30 pre-show, D&D Red Nose game day at 10 a.m., Red Nose Day Spotlight, I'm not sure what that is. At 12:30, we got Blackest Side Table. 2 o'clock, Comedians Play D&D. 4 o'clock, After Show Reality Role Play. Let's see what we got. June 20th, Lost Odyssey Theory. So 10 a.m. on Saturday looks interesting. Lost Odyssey, that's probably going to be talking about Theros, so that might be something to mark the calendars for. Cast of Thrones, 12 p.m., maybe something we want to watch. I don't know, maybe we can do live stream or something like that. So, alright, let's hit play here, see if we can get to the part where I was talking about.
So stoked.
It is going to be so much fun. We have.
Let's skip ahead.
They're very, very powerful entities, but they can be fought and they can be encountered in an adventure.
$125,000.
So if you want to make good on that promise from them, go to dndlive2020.com and donate to that worthy cause.
And off of that, we have so much programming to get to this weekend, so we should probably take a look at the schedule, right?
Yes, we have so many things.
Goodness.
You probably already saw some of that Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay, but we are here right now at that noon mark, a little bit after, because...
Dude, let me just take the second here to reiterate how awesome the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough looked today. If nobody saw it, you gotta go take a look at it. It looks sick. It is the most accurate representation of D&D in a computer game that I have ever seen. You actually have to roll dice. It's fantastic.
Because we are going to show you a reveal of the new D&D adventure. So stoked.
It is going to be so much fun. We have guests here to talk about the new program, the new game that's coming out, and I mean, I can't wait to get to it. How about you, Anna?
Oh, I'm stoked. Yeah, there's going to be lots of gameplay. There's going to be so many opportunities to learn about D&D, and this is one of the first ones. We have an owlbear here named Chris Perkins, who's going to tell us a few things about the game, as well as Jeremy Crawford. Chris being the principal narrative designer for D&D, and Jeremy being the principal rules designer. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Now, guys, we are so excited to reveal the new story. Mika, do you want to do the honors?
Yes. So this is the first time anybody's going to hear the title. So I hope everybody's ready out there. It's going to be called.
Beforehand.
Icewind Dale, the rhyme of the Frost Maiden. There it is. There's the cover. Wow, that's cool.
It's pretty good
That's
looking
the first time
covers.
I've seen that. It's so beautiful. What are we looking at on the cover there, guys?
So you're seeing one cover by Tyler Jacobson, which has some poor chap who's frozen dead in the ice.
Honestly, this is probably one of the only times I would buy the variant cover. I like the variant cover versus the canonical, I guess.
About to be taken into the grasp of the Frost Maiden. And then the other pillow by Hydro 74 gives a full frontal illustration of the Frost Maiden's owly visage.
That is the Frost Maiden herself, huh?
One of its
Yep.
forms.
In all her glory.
Well, tell us a little bit. Let's get into what this adventure is going to be like. What are the main themes, Chris?
So this is the part I want you guys to pay attention to. He's going to get into deities and taking forms of humans, and it's going to lend credence to my theory that this takes place in the past.
Well, this is a horror adventure set in Icewind Dale, a region far to the north in the Forgotten Realms, locked behind the spine of the world mountains. Themes of the story are isolation, paranoia, and secrecy.
Now, we have a lot of familiar things that we know we can expect in D&D, but we're always looking for the new things. What's going to be fresh and new in this adventure? What are the things that the players can look forward to?
Well, players can look forward to a campaign that embraces the setting and the environment. It's going to be chilly, it's going to be cold, it's a dangerous place, Icewind Dale. The people who go there they have to be very, very brave.
People like Dritz, Brainor Battlehammer, etc., etc. That's another thing I wonder. If it is set in the past, do we get walk-ons like of Dritz and Brainor? Does Clan Battlehammer make an appearance? I think it would be a real win for D&D if they could bring them in.
To survive the perils there. Now, the adventure is structured in such a way that a dungeon master can either run it all the way through or break it up into its smaller pieces, very similar to how the Essentials kit was structured. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Has anybody out there ever bought the Essentials kit? I didn't. I'm just kind of curious. It kind of makes me want to have to go take a look and see what the Essentials kit was all about.
But I think that in keeping with a horror setting, there are certain tropes that will come up again and again in this adventure that will have players on the edge of their seats, and DMs will be able to scare them in a whole new way.
Thanks, Chris. That's just what we all want, more trauma as players. Leave it to Chris Perkins for the feature of the new book to be horrible experiences. But no, I'm super excited for that. And I think that as we saw on the character, or on the cover, one of those horrors is going to be Oriel, the demigod, the new goddess, or not new, but who is the main antagonist of this module. Can you go into a little more detail about her?
Yeah, so in D, there's gods who are greater gods who don't really manifest physically. You can't interrupt them. They're far away distant figures of great power. But then there are entities that we classify as lesser gods who are, they assume physical forms, and you can shake their hand, or you can, clash swords with them. They're very, very powerful entities, but they can be fought, and they can be encountered in an adventure. And Oriel falls into the latter category. And in sort of concepting her for this adventure, I sort of think of her as a very Hela-like figure. Anybody who's seen the movie Thor Ragnarok knows who Hela is. Super, super powerful, but fallible, flawed, and somebody that you can actually confront in the flesh.
That's pretty cool. I wonder what our royal stat blocks look like. One of her many. But I'm telling you, like, the idea of having a god that you can fight right there, I just have this feeling this isn't now. This is where we've been playing in the past.
And I think you mentioned that we may not always see her looking exactly as we see her in that art, right?
Yeah, Jeremy, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, one of the important parts of the story of deities in Dungeons and Dragons is that they can actually assume many forms. And sometimes in our adventures when we have featured gods, you might see just one stat block for an avatar of that deity. Well, in this book, we actually have multiple stat blocks for the Frost Maiden, depending upon the form that she takes, depending upon when you face her. And speaking of stat blocks, I do want to mention that this book has over 50 of them. I think the largest number of stat blocks that we have included in any of our 5th edition adventures.
That's so exciting. I love the idea of, like, not knowing how we're going to encounter the Frost Maiden.
Alright, so anyway, look, I know that maybe it's loosey-goosey, but I just have this feeling that hearing about the Frost Maiden and going to Icewind Dale, I think having a familiar setting, but not being so familiar, you know, having it in the past, that would be fun. So, what do you guys think? Are you excited about Rime of the Frost Maiden from what you've seen? You think I'm wasting my time making this video? Do you think there's really nothing to see here? Do you think it's just an adventure? Are you guys looking forward to the rest of the weekend? Watching some live plays? Is anybody watches today? Anyway, you can answer those questions down in the comments section below. This is the first time I've ever reacted to a D&D or any type of video online, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. I'll probably catch you guys tomorrow for a lunchtime video and maybe some live reaction to what's going on for Roll With Advantage on Friday night. Maybe we'll go live. Who knows? So, guys, just let me know what you think in the comments. Did you enjoy the video? Did you think I wasted my time? Whatever you guys have to say, say it. And remember, in the game of life, may you always roll with advantage. And I'll see you in the next video.